Victor Yang, Senior Analyst at JLC Network Technology. Victor, I think we had all sort of been lulled into a false sense of slumber with the trade wars, the big drama of Q2 and Liberation Day, and then through the second quarter, it seemed like China and the US had found some kind of a pause or a détente, and then now we're back in the thick of it. Your thoughts on where this goes? What is China's position regarding the sort of face-off with the US?
Well, yes, well, first of all, when we came back from the holiday, things were kind of, well, worse than before. This year, a lot to do with the sanctions because of the sanctions. And China's position is that it's open to talks, as it has reiterated a few times. But at the same time, it does not accept the United States threatened. Well, let's say before October, the United States sanctioned Chinese companies, entities very frequently, and the latest about 15 entities, including some terminal. And China said it did not accept any threat before or around the talks. So that's not the way to deal with China. So if the United States wants to talk to China on trade, so it will be open to talks. But at the moment, we do not see any improvement
I
before
suppose the dynamic of the I don't know if manners is the right word, but I suppose much of the world has got used to being slapped around a little bit by Trump, being insulted by Trump. Even in the case of the Canadian Prime Minister the other day meeting in the White House, one minute Trump is praising him or Canada, and the next minute calling him nasty. China doesn't accept those same approach to that kind of Trumpian insult. Is that a big factor in this dynamic, this sort of the behavior of Trump being as much an obstacle as the policies?
Well, we could say that, first of all, during the trade talks, there was some kind of requirements from the United States that China did not accept. And it's not an equal talk. So to put it this way, so what China wants is an equal playing field. So to create a level base for talks, but that's not the case now, and it's not going to accept the bullet from the United States any longer. We could say that.
Sorry, just I didn't catch that last word. It's not going to accept the bullying.
The
Is that
bullet,
what you
yes,
the
yeah,
bullying? Right,
yeah.
right. Victor, maybe you can speak to that. That lovely photograph behind you. Are they all gone now? Those containers? That is a outdated photo. The How do you think, Victor, the sort of trade volumes? Let's maybe start with imports of oil. We've seen over the course of the first three quarters, as reported by many secondary sources, that China has been building inventories at about 500,000 barrels a day. That was very much the headline at the APEC conference in Singapore. Is that sustaining in through the fourth quarter, that China will continue to buy for storage? You're on mute, Victor.
Well, September data just came out today, and we saw an average monthly import for the month, say 11.5 million barrels per day. And in the first
That's a big
9 months,
number.
yeah, in the first 9 months, the country's crude imports gained 2.6%, slightly up from 2.5% in the first 8 months. But when we look at the last quarter, the growth will probably slow down because of the sanction and a lot of issues, and also quota issues. Independent refiners also running short on quotas too. And some state-owned refineries had actually cut their crude runs because of some issues. And so we expect to see a drop in the country's crude run in the last quarter. And probably we won't see such an increase in the last quarter.
When you say a drop, you're talking about imports that you would expect. You had 11.5 in September of imports. You would expect that to decline through October, November, December.
Yes, probably in the last 3 months of the year, it can drop modestly from this level. And 11.5 is just an average monthly for the past few months in 2025. And we still expect, for now, it's not declining much yet, but we can see modest declines in the last 3 quarters, to slightly below this level.
And that's certainly, even at these discounted prices that China usually is quite attracted by, low 60s on Brent, below 60 on WTI, that would be a very attractive price for China buying.
Yes, that would be attractive too. But it's mostly independents who take such discounted grades. And now independent refiners are still waiting for additional quotas. And some of them are short on quotas already. So they are probably going to cut the crude runs too in the last 3 months of the year, unless China announces additional quotas for them before the end of the year. But if it comes too late, say in November or December, they may not be able to hide their imports or crude runs.
You pick up on that. I mean, China's looking at the world and obviously very driven by energy security. As the world moves towards a period of less idle capacity, and that idle capacity is basically within one or two countries. How does China typically react to that? One would think more buying.
Well, there was kind of expectation that China would continue to buy more than it consume in the coming months. But now things are changed, as you know, there could be some change over the coming months regarding their purchases. One is the sanctions, and another one is the quota issues with independence. And now domestic oil demand, I mean, fuel demand is not strong. So some refineries just took this opportunity to cut their crude runs. And exports are not high either, as you know, such as gasoline exports, diesel exports, they have been relatively low over the past few months and still low in October too. So there is not such a need for China to increase its crude runs in the coming months. But when we talk about crude building, the country has been building stockpiles at least over the past few months, as we talked about. And the stockpile building can slow down in the coming months. Yeah. And there's not such
Slow
urgent need
down.
now
It has
before.
been
Yeah.
it has been about 500,000 barrels a day into storage
Mm.
as reported by secondary sources. When you say that could slow down, are you saying that goes to zero, or what scale of slowdown do you think the storage build in China goes to?
Well, it might not be as high as 500. It might be just about 200 to 300, but there can still be some stock building in the coming months as prices are still attractive, as you said. And the country is also building tanks too. sometimes coming online in the coming months too. So there's still capacity for more building, but because of some other issues, the stockpile building can probably slow down from the 500,000 KBD.